This is why Evo 10s are the best Evo.
They lost on the track, boy.
If you've never seen any of my videos before, I like Evo 10s. I like DSMs and stuff. I've had 2 Evo 8s and then 3 Evo 10s. And I just enjoyed the Evo 10 over all the other ones. And this is why. So, reason number 1 is comfort. That's what everybody's gonna say probably is, oh, the Evo 10 is a lot more comfortable for a daily and stuff like that. I like to drive my cars, so it doesn't just sit. But these seats, if you fit into them, they're really comfortable. And the interior, it's not the best, but I don't care for like screens and all that stuff. I just like the basics, and that's what this has. You know, it has your HVAC right there, it has radio stuff right there, and it has Bluetooth. That's all I really care about. The cluster's really cool because it actually starts straight up and down, which is unique. The interior overall, I like it. I really like it. And the 8s and 9s interiors, I like those, but this one, I like how it's a little more updated than those, and it's a little less plasticky in my opinion. And then the back seats, they have decent amount of space, and they're very comfortable for what they are, you know. Trunk space is a drawback if you're gonna daily one. There isn't much trunk space, especially if you have the sound package. But yeah, you can hardly fit anything in there. All right, now that comfort's out of the way, the next thing is just the platform. So these engines, they're an aluminum block, so they're lighter, a good bit lighter than the 4G63s, and they are very capable. You know, I see people everywhere, 500-600 horsepower on a stock, fully unopened engine, really, and it's pushing it no problem. It'll last a good bit of time. So yeah, they're very capable engines. They're a little more annoying to work on because the turbo's in the back, and it's just annoying to get to, and you know, if you have a broken stud or something, it's just a lot worse of a place to have it. But overall, they're not too bad to work on. Once you get used to them, you know, you can swap turbos in a couple hours, you know, it's not too bad. And then also nowadays, to find an 8 and 9 that's fully stock is very hard. But to find a 10 that's fully stock, it's a little more easy. Or if you find one with common bolt-ons, you know, like blow-off valve and intercooler piping, it's not that hard to go back to stock. Whereas the 8s and 9s, all of them have like EGR delete and then all that stuff. And then, you know, everyone's just been chopped up, and everything that you can mod has basically been done to the majority of them. So there's just a lot more stuff that you would have to source to put one back to stock if you prefer stock. But I mean, it is an Evo, so most people don't like them stock anyways, or prefer to modify them. This generation is a good bit newer, so the handling aspects of it handles very well. You know, it really grips to the road. And then the appearance of the car, I think it looks really good. You know, people are gonna like it, people are gonna hate it, but I think it looks really good. Still has the big Evo wing. It's got a dual exhaust. The 8s and 9s only have a single exit exhaust. Dual exhaust looks pretty good in my opinion. It looks a lot more square than the other ones. I do prefer the looks of the 8s and 9s more. The Evo 10s come with a bit larger wheel. It's an 18-inch instead of a 17. Even though most Evo 8s and 9s, they swap to these wheels or bigger wheels. But it is a little bit bigger of a wheel. These ones, you're gonna find a lot more that haven't been ragged on as much as the 8s and 9s, I guess. There is an automatic option for the Evo 10s, which the 8s and 9s did not have in America. But most people stay away from the automatics. I did have an MR. I think I have some videos on it. But I did have an MR, and it really opened my eyes up to how fun an automatic can be. So I'm glad that I had it, and it was fun. I prefer a GSR, of course, but the MR was fun. So also, Evo 8s and 9s, their engines are getting harder to come by, and most of them are being built. And the Evo 10s, their engines are a little bit cheaper actually, usually, if you blow it up or whatever, and you need an engine, it's usually a little cheaper to find an engine. Transmissions are definitely cheaper. Transfer cases and rear diffs. The rear diff, normally people swap the 8 and 9 one in here or the Rally Art one, because the 10 GSR one is just not the best, especially if you're going to launch it. They're like glass kind of. So that is one thing that's better in the 8s and 9s. Mods for them, 8s and 9s, their mods are cheaper because everybody has something. Everybody's taking something off or putting something on, so there's always stuff for sale and it's always cheaper. My favorite 8 build was a one with 272 cams and an Evo 9 turbo, and it made, on flex fuel, it made around almost a little over 400 wheel, and that was the funnest setup in my opinion. It had a built drivetrain, so you could launch it and not really care about it. It had a triple disc. It was overkill for it, but it was just a blast. And the guy who has it now, who I sold it to, he still loves it. It's an amazing car. The spool was just instant, and it was just a blast. But Evo 10s, you can do, intercooler piping, intercooler, and then injectors, and stock turbo, your basic bolt-ons. And on the stock turbo on E, you can make around 400 as well. And yeah, same thing, they're just a blast. I wouldn't recommend launching it, but yeah, they're just a blast. And I mean, if you just buy the parts used, you can get them all for not too much, and it's just a whole different car after that. So in my opinion, the Evo 10 is definitely one to go for. The 8s and 9s, you're gonna have a harder time finding one in decent shape, whereas the 10s, a lot more of them are in decent shape. So if you have any questions about Evos, comment below. I can try to answer them as best as I can. When you go to look for one, you want to make sure it shifts good. When they're cold, the transmissions are a little notchy, but once they warm up, they should smooth out. You definitely want to look if anybody mounted gauge pods here or anything. As you can see, this one used to have something mounted there. Engine wise, try to go on a dry day or during the day when sunny, and look under the car for oil leaks or anything. If you have to meet at night, go to a gas station and under the bright lights there, and then you can get a good look. But you just want to check around for leaks, take the engine cover off. This one has the gold tape that I just left on, but that obviously means that it's had, a bigger turbo or a different manifold back there before. But I told the guy, or I put in my ad when I was selling it, that it's been modified before. Make sure that everything's bolted down. You don't want stuff flapping around. Make sure all the intercooler piping's connected, and it hasn't blown off or something. And then you just want to check all around for any rust. This one's rust free, so it has nothing. It's beautiful. But down there and stuff, once you find a little bit, you just keep on digging and digging, and you're gonna find more and more probably. So just keep your eye out for that. And I guess before you go, look up what the difference between surface rust and like actual like rot is, because there's a difference. You know, if you see some rust on the control arm, some surface stuff, you know, that's common. If it's had a intercooler before, most of the time they delete these because, I don't know, people like the looks of it. I prefer this look, but I also prefer all my stuff stock looking. So yeah, and then probably the under trays are gone, but you'll see a tray right here. If it's not, if it's there, you're lucky, but most under trays have been ripped off or just not put on after oil changes and stuff. When people step on the side skirts, they'll start hanging down, but these are all on there pretty tight. Like my MR, it was hanging off right here because people step on them, you know, because you gotta step out a little bit more, so those tend to fall off. In the rear on the exhaust, if you see where it's actually melted right there a little bit, there's been an aftermarket exhaust. You know, most of them have had an aftermarket exhaust, so don't let these little things steer you away if it's running good, driving good. You know, check compression. You can only do so much, but you know, if it's had an aftermarket exhaust, you know, 80% of them have had one, so don't let that scare you away. I would definitely recommend checking compression. That's what you do in the spark plug wells. You take the spark plug out and put a compression gauge in there, and it's some way to show you somewhat of a healthy engine. Most people prefer leak down tests because it tells you a little more. I'm not going to get in depth. You can look it up if you want an in-depth talk about it. I would definitely try to check compression. Make sure all cylinders are around the same. If you see some Amazon looking connectors for the injectors, they've probably had injectors before, and electrical tape here means they've spliced injectors in. Again, don't let that scare you away if it's running good. You know, 80% of them have been modified. But if you're looking for a mint, like never been modified one, then those are at least something to look out for. You know, all the factory clamps look like this. If you see one like that, that's not factory, it's been touched before. Same with that. This is what the factory motor mounts look like. They have a good amount of gap in between them. Let me see if I can show you. But you can see how you can see through it. Solid motor mounts, it'll be solid all the way around. You can't really see through it. A lot of aftermarket motor mounts are like that, where it's just a solid bushing. Definitely check the oil. You want to make sure that the oil is at least at the minimum, but preferably at the maximum. Look out for stickers, because that'll show you what's been done to it, or it'll tell you a little bit. If you look at these nuts, like you can see this one, it's a little beat up around the edges. Same with that one. I mean, that's if you want to get in depth. But like this one's been stripped a little bit at the top. You know, that's been messed with. Probably had suspension before. 2008s came with an aluminum valve cover. So this is a plastic. 2008s came with aluminum. I don't know what you're gonna do with that information, but now you know. Some common problems on the 10s. The earlier model years, they had timing chain stretch. The newer models, they use a dual link timing chain, so it's not an issue anymore. When you're going to look at one, look out for whines, whether it be the transmission, transfer case, or rear diff. If it's whining, that means it's probably on its last leg. You know, if somebody launched it a good bit, it'll wear them down. So look out for that. Look out for smoking when you accelerate. Definitely look out for engine noise and stuff. They're not too loud of an engine. The injectors are a little loud. You'll hear them. Look out for the common things, you know, you've seen all the videos. Definitely try to find a clean one, stay away from rust, and treat it good, and it will be good to you. These engines, I've seen a lot of people last over 200K with them and still going. So, you know, treat it like any other car, treat it nice, and it'll hopefully stay all together and run really good. Those are just some things to look out for when looking at an Evo 10. Hope you all enjoyed. If you're looking for an Evo 10, I hope you find one. And if you like the 8s and 9s better, that's fine. Just don't hate on the 10 as much. It's a pretty cool car. I'm a car enthusiast. I like basically all cars. See, I'm on my Honda phase now. Have a Miata, got that from my friend. DSM stuff. This is actually a Mitsubishi Expo. If you haven't seen any of my other videos on it, I have some other videos on it, but it's a van, all-wheel drive, with a 4G63, with a 20G turbo that I'm trying to get ready for tuning. So yeah, it's something cool if you want to check it out. I have videos on this Civic. I put it back to stock, did paint correction stuff, made it look good. I have it for sale now. This one was supercharged. It is now my daily, and I've just been driving it, and I really like it. Miata, I don't have any videos on it. I might make one. CRX, that's coming up soon. I have a entire B swap for it, so I'm gonna put that in it. Right now, it was my daily. It's a HF, so it gets like 40 to 50 miles per gallon. But right now, the SI's been my daily, and I've had a B swap for this for like a year, over a year probably. So yeah, I'm ready to put that in. So that's gonna be my next big project on the channel. And then the Evo, I took a deposit on it, so somebody should hopefully be buying it here in the next couple of days. But yeah, I'm gonna own another Evo 10. I'm gonna own another Evo 8 and 9 as well. I just love the cars. I stay around them. Stay around those and S2000s the most, but I like all cars, so I try to bring a variety of everything. So yeah, I'm gonna have content on a ton of cars. So if you enjoyed, definitely follow for more.